Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Let's go ahead and hit this record button. Mhm. Good morning. How are y'all doing today? What's the day looking like? Afternoon, depending on where you're at. Here today will be a slow roll into today's tea talk. As we're talking about transitions, planning, setting goals, really reassessing like some of the things that you decide to give your attention and time to, what that looks like, why, how, and finishing off the rest of this month. Because for a lot of folks, if you have children or work with children, this is definitely a period of time of transition for you all. People are, good morning, shifting minds and thoughts. I'm going to try to get better at saying and shouting out the folks that are on Instagram and all the other sites as you guys leave messages and share information. So as I see you, my goal is to get better at acknowledging you all for showing up and sharing your time with me, because you could have been anywhere else in the world, but you chose to be here with me. So let's us get into it and start digging in. I know last week we definitely had the option of exploring like what are some times that we're going to be doing them. And part of the change or shift for me really boiled around being able to look at what am I doing with my time and my planning and reassessing, okay, for this next 90 days, what is that going to look like? For the events that were planned for last month, as you all, if you've been following me, you know, I've been traveling a lot, pretty much this whole first half of the year for sure. And it just kind of wound down to the extent I was like, okay, I won't be going anywhere else. And then boom, I was in Vegas last week. So with that being said, there's a necessity to look at what time am I doing things and showing up and being able to be the best version of myself, because I'm giving myself that time and permission to really check out what are my transitions, who am I choosing to move forward with having access to my life, what things will I be putting out in the world to offer to other people, and how am I going to go about making these decisions. I think a week or two ago, I don't even remember at this point because the time has gone by, there was, oh, did I hit? I did not hit it. Now let me go ahead and hit. Like, I did not give myself the opportunity historically to like plan events and really be able to check and make sure people are looking for these events and that they're going to show up. So I love that people respond and are willing to share, like, oh, yes, we would totally be interested in this. And that would be cool. Believe it or not, just because people are interested doesn't mean they're going to show up. It doesn't mean they're actually going to invest in themselves in a way that is going to be fruitful for you to be able to share the information. And it gives you a really great opportunity to look at and explore, what are you offering to the world? What are you planning and doing all this background work to make sure other people will have access to a great event or a great training or a great coaching program, or how you go about starting a whole ass business? Like, what is it that you're doing in the background? And are people even looking for that? Lots of folks that are in the marketing space and field and healing through authenticity, she was like, so true. And I know she knows. I know everybody that's on IG right this minute, they know what I'm talking about. There's this aspect of people saying it all the time. Give people what they want. If you're going to offer an event or do something, give the people what they're looking for, or better yet, sell them what they want, give them what they need. If you know that something you have to offer will be really great for people, it doesn't mean that they know that it's going to be great. It's like talking to a kid back in the day that hated vegetables. That's probably today that one adult that like goes ham on Brussels sprouts and is like, you can't stop me from eating Brussels sprouts. But when they were a kid, if you go talk to their parent or whoever provided care, they were like, we wouldn't even try it anymore because we told them it was good for them. And they were like, just because of that alone? Absolutely not. Today, they are the advocates. They are the people saying everybody should eat all the vegetables in the world. Go figure. But if you share things with folks, make sure they're even interested. If they are interested, then make sure there's enough interest there that people are going to be able to show up. So if you have a pretty dope group of friends or people that are in professional organizations or groups that you know, if they're interested in what you got going on and they're willing to show up and give you feedback, let them go ahead and give you some feedback. Offer the event, offer the training, give the service so you can find out, does this even really work and who does it work for? What you may come across is finding out that you may not want to work with who you thought you wanted to work with in the first place. You might find out that the people you want to work with are not the folks that you thought you wanted to work with. You may get more specific, you may broaden it up, but give yourself that permission to try things and be okay with it doesn't always turn out perfectly, if at all. I have the luxury of planning a retreat at the end of the summit that was in May, just before I was heading off to Bali. I was like, this will be a great wrap up, and then I'm going to leave. The problem is you do need time for people to be aware that you're even hosting something so they can get interested in it in the first place. And then you need to give people time and information about what it is you're doing so that they can choose to show up or not show up. Postponed it, pushed it out till August. Great, not a problem. The venue was like, yeah, totally, we can reschedule it. The person I was working with, like, we were able to have conversations. And I think for us, even gain that much more insight on how we work with each other, how we can work with other people, and the things that are passionate for us so that we can show up and do a better job at what it is we want to do. We were able to get to a conclusion. Okay, based on the current status, like, it's not looking like what we were anticipating. The numbers aren't there. And no ill or harm, just that's what it is. So we're going to go ahead and, not cancel. So I was still holding the space, still willing to go through with it. And believe it or not, and I didn't even share this yet, so this will be new information. I contacted the venue. Normally, if someone says they're doing something, I don't usually follow and check up for whatever reason. I decided to follow up and reached out to them and said, hey, I'm really excited about coming to the venue because I was going to go to the space, hold space for the event that I was holding, and go ahead and record what I wanted to give and share. When I reached out, they were like, I'm sorry, you should have called us a week earlier. We don't have it available. And I'm like, oh, that's really weird, because in May, we had solidified that this was going to be available this week. So I in my mind, I'm like, I don't understand. Where do they do that at? How do you not have a venue available? It happens, and it happens way more often than not. It happens for lots of different reasons, but even that, and planning an event or what it is you'd like to be doing for now, finding out that what you thought was going to be available may not be available doesn't mean that you have to give up on the thing. Maybe that shifts to now you use a different location. In the midst of this, again, new news, a couple of folks here or there know about it. I chose to move from an area that I love being in to be in another area that I'm going to love even more now, is what I've decided. So in the midst of hosting an event, traveling all over, preparing for school, packing, moving is its own thing. Also seeing, okay, this venue just got canceled. Well, I literally have a whole empty space now because I was moving to another location that I could have effortlessly transferred the event there, and decided I'm just going to chill and do nothing for this weekend. I ordered this amazing, what are those things called? A charcuterie board that embodied the chakra color. So it was beautiful. You will see pictures eventually. And to be fair, I ate all of it over the course of a couple of days. I ate it all. I enjoyed taking in the chakras through that sense of taste, and was able to even connect with another business owner within the area, in Pasadena area, that I felt good about. So while the event that I planned and how I thought it was going to go and the people I was going to be working with, those things didn't happen and connect the way that I set those plans out. But what came out of it was so much cooler and better for me, to be able to even offer the space to share vulnerably how, yeah, you can plan events and absolutely not one daggone thing can go right about what you planned, what you thought you were doing, who you thought was going to be there, who you planned on working with, all the things. But if you choose to, part of transitions is being able to give yourself permission to look at What do you want to take from this instead? How do you want to be intentional about what you're going to do next and how you're going to move forward? Are you going to sit here and act like your whole life is over now because nobody wanted to come to your event? No. Believe it or not, I've been hosting events since about 2015 or so. And those events back then, when I was at a yoga studio or at someone else's company providing a service, they were amazing. Guess what? Any event I do now is going to be just as amazing. Every event I have done thus far is amazing. And the most amazing part is what I chose to take out of it. In the midst of these transitions and having to change your plans, maybe looking at how you're hosting things, being okay with something not being exactly how you said it, and being okay with reaching out for support and help from others, being okay with knowing that it looks different than what you planned, but you have the opportunity to create something different, allows every single thing that you are planning to be exactly how you want it to be. That does require you to embrace a silver lining on what's happening and what's going on. And that is your own choice, a mindset choice. Are you choosing to decide that if something goes wrong, everything's crap? If so, that's on you. And you're right. Are you deciding that if something changes, it's going to be the best ever? You're right. No matter what you decide, you're going to be right. So why not, or might as well choose something that's going to really work for you instead of something that's negative. Even looking at hosting this weekend. And again, I'm positive that I was informed of this information months in advance. And I'm even more positive that I forgot. Going to Vegas this weekend, being able to actually spend time with, and I don't even know if my cousin necessarily realized this or not, but we hadn't seen each other that I can recall maybe since the pandemic. That's a couple of years. Historically, we would have seen each other no less than once or twice a year. Being able to go and be in the same place and just spend time with our families, our friends, people that are important, hosting that space of they were coming across the world and I was down the street, even though the whole state isn't my state or other states, just knowing that I could go see them and I could be a part of it and I could say hello was awesome. And yes, I had planned on doing nothing before she reminded me of what was happening, but I'm so glad that I went. It gave me an opportunity to gain more perspective every single time. This is for me. I hope it's for you that I travel. I get the opportunity to gain new insight and new perspectives on what I was doing before I left, what I'm doing while I'm there, and if I give myself permission to be present to what's happening so that I can enjoy the best version of whatever is taking place at that moment in time. Going and having this additional thing allowed me to come back and like, all right, I know I was talking about transitions this month on these Tea Talks, and we've been looking at different times to not only just fit my schedule, but also for you all to be able to have the opportunity to tap in. Yes, it's recorded. Yes, this goes to my podcast afterwards, but if I can offer for people to be a part of it live, why not? If the timing works for some folks and not for others, that's fine too. The fact that there is a whole podcast, you can go check it out later, looking back at this planning and things that are happening. If it doesn't happen the way you wanted it to go, it doesn't mean it isn't still great. It just needs to be great for you. So that may be you get to join me live, you don't get to join me live. Guess what? The Tea Talks are happening regardless. So even if I made a decision to not do them live anymore, doesn't mean the information may not still be available unless I made a decision never to do it again. It's totally going to be up to me and up to you all to give yourselves the opportunity to explore what are the transitions and plannings and things that I would like to host in my own life that I'm willing to show up for. I am going to add into my schedule and plan and set the time up for it and give myself permission to have the energy to actually show up and do those things. This morning, true story. I had no business considering going to Starbucks this morning, but my plan was, since I was running late from dropping off my child at school, I was like, I'm going to go stop at Starbucks. I'm going to go reward myself. I looked at my little balance and was like, you got it, but you don't got it. And I decided, okay, I'm going through it. I happened to be on the phone with my cousin, and I have multiple phones, you know, Like everybody can't just reach out and touch me and talk to me. I do believe in boundaries, and I'm all good with them. No, you can't reach out and call me whatever you want to. No, you can't walk up to my front door, me answer the door if I didn't know you were coming. We're on the phone that actually has Starbucks on it, because I don't keep it on both of my phones because I don't need that kind of access. I know who I am. Right when I get to go pay for it, the phone dies. Clearly, I have Starbucks. I don't know about y'all, but if you have invested in a plan or a program where you get points and get different things, and this is a part of when you're looking at planning and hosting stuff, plan things that are going to give back to you just as much as you're about to give to the other people. So I do go to Starbucks because, yes, if I'm going to get some points back for me spending $50 million for my one cup of coffee or my one pastry, I feel better about getting $1 back for the 500 I might have spent than getting absolutely nothing. So my phone dying and me not having the card, I couldn't use the app. And I was like, I'm not going to get my points. And it's not that I couldn't pay for it. I had cash, I have cards, but I didn't want to use those. I wanted to use my Starbucks card. And I told the lady, and I was like, my phone just died. I can't access my app. And she was like, oh no. I was like, I know. What am I supposed to do? I plugged the phone in. I'm trying to charge it. It did not charge. And she said, you know what? It's on you. I almost cried. But the thing is, I knew I had to come back here, take a shower, and like attempt to look presentable. So I did not. But I thought about it in that moment. What I needed more than anything was not the Starbucks, but it was just another sign of grace. My plans for the day was I'm just going to go spend this money and make myself happy. And what I got instead, because I was open and willing to just share like what just happened instead of sucking it up and just immediately paying instead, someone had the opportunity to show me a little grace for today. Yes, I am fingers crossed hoping this does not come out of her salary. And for sure, I am absolutely going to make sure that I go back there and like show my appreciation again because she's right down the street. But someone else got to pour into me this morning. Literally, like they poured me my dirty chai tea latte with soy milk, and I already ate my sandwich, and then I get to come on here and like share and pour into you all because someone else was willing to just share a little bit of grace and comfort. Like it wasn't even like oh, well, you got to pay us some money. She was like, no, you know what? We got you. This is on you. Whatever you're planning, whenever you're hosting, and whatever you're transitioning through, feel free to give yourself a little more grace and space to take a breather, maybe just share what's happening with whom is available. Who knows? They may be offering you a little grace too. I'm just going to put it out there. Maybe they're going to send you like $10,000 in your bank account. I'm accepting and receiving. So I want y'all to get that too. 10 to $1 million, anywhere along those lines will be great. But allow yourself that space to transition through things and be okay with it not being exactly how you wanted it, but making what happens exactly what you needed instead. And I see at least over, not sure where this one is coming from, but someone, thank you for showing up this morning. Thank you guys for showing up, because again, you could have been anywhere in the world, even if you're not really on here and it's just playing in the background, but you at least chose to show up, wave, say hi. So I appreciate you all. Feel free to tell a friend to tell a friend. And huge spoiler alert, I am absolutely going to be a 2-time best-selling author probably by the end of this week, because ding, 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 the second book that I co-author with, called Radical Self-Love with Jess Hughes, is going to be dropping. You guys are going to be seeing links. You're absolutely supposed to go to Amazon, look up Radical Self-Love, Jessica Hughes, and then click on it. Get your Kindle version. I think you have to do it from a desktop. It's like 99 cents or something. Go ahead, jump in there, and then absolutely go ahead and look for my chapter. That day when I was writing, let me tell you, I had some feelings. I was like, first of all, and second of all, and I just kept going through it. You'll literally see it if you buy it. You'll be like, okay, there's a ones and twos and three. Yes. I first of all, second of all, third of all, into my version of self-love and how giving myself that space and time to, like, how do I want to pour into me? And it always comes back to money at some point in time, money, energy, and it's not just physical dollars. The money isn't just dollars. So you won't know more about it unless you check out either the first book and for sure the second one. So dropping this week, look for the post, tell a friend to tell a friend, share it, jump on there. Let's start getting into this radical self-love. Let's embody how we can use our own feminine energy to care for ourselves, as well as really look at this next month or so. I know we're in the middle of the month. What do you want to do for the end of this month? How you want to show up? What do you want to create? What do you want to establish? Who do you want to connect with? Like, reach out to them. You want to connect with me? I'm here. I'm out here. Oh, cool. I see the folks over here. You really needed this. I appreciate you guys for showing up, even on the Zooms, on the LinkedIn's, on the Facebook groups, like all the places. Like, thank you guys. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. If I forget to share some links, feel free to remind me that I said I was doing it. And I will gladly put it out there, share the info with you all. And I don't know, any questions, thoughts, concerns, by all means, if I don't catch them here, I'll be more than happy to answer them throughout the week, sharing some more reels or like posts. We're here. You guys can totally reach out to us. Send an email, info@greaterself.org. Shoot a text. I think it's 626-722-5661. Send a message in the DMs. Just hit me in the DMs. Okay. But I hope y'all have an amazing day. Feel free to tap into the podcast. Join us back here next Tuesday. It'll be a surprise if it's 7 or if it's 9, but I think I'm kind of feeling this 9 a.m. Pacific time slot. Feels good for me. I'm awake like all the way for real. So we'll see how this goes. And I hope y'all have an amazing, beautiful day. Thank you for joining me here on the Greater Self Vibes podcast, Freedom Tea Talks. I'll be seeing y'all later. Appreciate y'all. Let's see. Let's stop. And then thank you guys for showing up. If you're still on here,